Triton. Triton is one of the most extraordinary objects in the entire solar system and the undisputed star of Neptune's moon system. It is the only large moon anywhere known to orbit its planet backwards, moving in the opposite direction to Neptune's rotation in what is called a retrograde orbit, which tells scientists immediately that it did not form here. Triton is almost certainly a former Kuiper Belt object, a distant icy world that wandered too close to Neptune billions of years ago and got captured by its gravity. That capture event was catastrophic for whatever moons Neptune originally had. Triton's arrival disrupted the entire system, scattering the original satellites and leaving behind the chaotic collection of irregular moons we see today. Despite surface temperatures of -235 degrees Celsius, Voyager 2 discovered active geysers on Triton in 1989, shooting dark plumes of nitrogen gas and dust 8 kilometers into the sky. And in March 2026, new research suggested that Triton's gradual inward spiral over billions of years may have actually tilted Neptune itself, the only known case of a moon physically rocking its own planet off its original axis. Triton is not just the moon. It is a cosmic intruder that rewrote an entire planetary system. Nereid. Nereid is one of the strangest orbiting objects in the solar system, a moon with one of the most elongated and eccentric orbits of anything going around any planet anywhere. At its closest point, it sits about 1.4 million kilometers from Neptune, and at its farthest, it swings out to nearly 9.7 million kilometers away, almost 7 times farther. It takes 360 Earth days to complete a single orbit, meaning a year on Nereid is almost exactly as long as a year on Earth, despite being in the outer solar system. Scientists believe Nereid was originally a regular inner moon of Neptune before Triton's violent capture event flung it into this wild, stretched orbit. It is roughly spherical, about 340 kilometers across, and its surface brightness varies significantly as it rotates, suggesting an uneven coating of material across its surface. Nereid is essentially a survivor, a moon that got thrown across the solar system by a cosmic intruder and somehow held on. Proteus. Proteus is Neptune's second largest moon and one of the darkest objects in the solar system, reflecting only about 7% of the light that hits it, roughly as dark as fresh asphalt. It is irregular in shape, sitting right at the size limit where gravity would normally pull an object into a sphere, meaning it is essentially as large as a moon can get without becoming round. What makes Proteus particularly interesting is one enormous impact crater called Pharos, which measures about 250 kilometers across and is 10 to 15 kilometers deep, a wound so large relative to the moon's size that the impact that caused it nearly shattered Proteus entirely. It was missed entirely before Voyager 2 because it orbits so close to Neptune and is so dark that ground-based telescopes simply could not detect it. Proteus orbits Neptune in just over 26 hours, slightly faster than Neptune itself rotates, meaning it rises in the west and sets in the east from Neptune's perspective. Hippocamp. Hippocamp is Neptune's smallest known regular moon, discovered not by a spacecraft but by astronomer Mark Showalter in 2013 while examining old Hubble Space Telescope images taken years earlier that nobody had looked at carefully enough. At only about 34 kilometers across, it is tiny, faint, and orbits very close to Proteus in a region crowded with rim material. What makes Hippocamp scientifically fascinating is where it likely came from. Scientists believe it is a fragment of Proteus itself, broken off by a large impact long ago and now orbiting independently nearby. In other words, Hippocamp is a piece of another moon, quietly following its parent around Neptune in a nearly identical orbit. It is the clearest example in the solar system of a moon giving birth to another moon through sheer violence. Galatea. Galatea is a small inner moon that plays an outsized role in shaping the Neptune system. It acts as a gravitational shepherd for one of Neptune's most unusual features, the Adam's ring. Unlike most planetary rings which spread out smoothly and evenly, the Adam's ring contains several dense clumps of material called arcs, named Liberté, Égalité, fraternité, and courage. According to the laws of orbital mechanics, these clumps should spread out and dissolve over time, but they haven't, and the reason is Galatea. Its gravitational influence keeps the arc material corralled in those specific zones, preventing it from dispersing. Galatea itself is irregular in shape, heavily cratered and only about 174 kilometers across, yet its gravitational footprint on the ring system around it is far larger than its size suggests. It is the moon that holds the rings together. Neso. Neso is Neptune's outermost known moon and one of the most remote objects orbiting any planet in the solar system. It sits approximately 48 million kilometers from Neptune, farther than the distance between Earth and Venus, and takes about 26 Earth days to complete a single orbit. It is tiny, only 60 kilometers across, and orbits in a highly tilted retrograde path that suggests it is a captured object rather than an original member of Neptune's family. What makes Neso remarkable is simply the extreme distance at which it manages to stay gravitationally bound to Neptune at all. At that distance, Neptune's grip on it is incredibly weak, and a passing star or large object could theoretically strip it away entirely. Neso sits at the very edge of what Neptune can hold onto, the outermost boundary of an ice giant's reach into the darkness of the outer solar system. Neptune as a system. Neptune is the most remote planet in our solar system and arguably the most neglected. Only one spacecraft has ever visited, Voyager 2, which flew past for just a few hours in August 1989 and has never been back. Everything discovered since then has come from telescopes peering across billions of kilometers of empty space. Yet even from that distance, the discoveries keep coming. Hippocamp found in archival images, new outer moons confirmed in 2024, and in March 2026, new research revealing that Triton may have literally tilted the planet it orbits. Neptune has 16 confirmed moons, ranging from a cosmic intruder orbiting backwards and shooting geysers into space, to a survivor moon flung into a wild orbit by that same intruder, to a tiny fragment of another moon quietly following its parent around Neptune in a nearly identical orbit. No mission is currently scheduled to return to Neptune, but it remains one of the highest priority destinations in planetary science. The most distant planet in our solar system is still, after all this time, barely known.